Welcome to the Lake Show, brought to you by Fort Loudoun Lake Association. I'm Angela Howard, the Executive Director for Fort Loudoun Lake Association, here in downtown Knoxville, where we're filming at the CTV studios, and I want to thank them. We're continuing our conversation this week with Ted Nelson, a retiree from TVA. He is a wealth of knowledge. And so to just connect you back to where we had left off last week, we just talked about the Tennessee River being an integrative, I'm checking my notes because you gave them to me, multi-purpose river system designed to help with or to navigate, or designed to navigate. It's designed for flood control, and it's designed for electricity, electrical power. We left off there, and I want to continue on now and talk about Fort Loudoun Lake specifically after all this has been done kind of nationwide, and what's great about our city, and then how maybe our organization can help make it better.
Okay, great. Well, as I said, I'm really glad to be here. I'm always happy to talk about the Tennessee River system and Fort Loudoun in particular, since I'm a constant user of Fort Loudoun Lake. I want it to be as nice and clean
You're not alone on that one.
as possible. But going back to the purposes of the river system, whenever there's a federal water resource project that's planned, even back in the 40s, you had to look at what are the benefits this project is going to produce. What do we expect to get from this? And the basic purposes of the Tennessee River system were navigation, flood control, and hydroelectric. Oh, by the way, maybe we'll produce some power out of this too, which, you know, things change in life. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the navigation was intended to bring transportation all the way up to Knoxville. Mm-hmm. As we talked about last week, 652 miles from the Ohio River up to Knoxville, and you can connect anywhere, be it in a commercial vessel or a recreation vessel, and if you want to kayak to the Gulf of Mexico, you can do that from Knoxville.
Has that affected, do you think, our overall commerce here in Knoxville?
Oh, absolutely.
From back when and then even now?
Absolutely. And we could talk a lot about the navigation benefits, but let me go back over the navigation, and then we've got flood control, and then we've got the hydroelectric power. So those are the basic purposes of the system. Those are the basic purposes of Fort Loudoun, fitting into this whole 652-mile system with 9 mainstream dams with locks, navigation locks.
Tennessee River is only 52 linear miles, right? Actual from the forks of the river to the dam. That means if you stretch that out, it's about 52 linear. It's not 652. We have 300.
No, from Paducah to Knoxville,
okay.
652.
But our little portion is about 52.
It's about 50 miles. Okay. Yeah, 52 miles from Fort Loudoun Dam up to the forks of the river.
Right.
That's exactly right. Yeah, so yes, navigation has had a major effect on Knoxville. Right now, there's about 500,000 tons of stuff that goes through the navigation lock.
That's all the barges, and we look out our windows and the boats.
Believe it or not, that's right. And the main things that go through here, we get a lot of asphalt coming in here for road construction and maintenance. We get a lot of salt for road, for snow, ice and snow. And then we ship out some scrap metals and that type of thing. So the river system is really used tremendously. And those are the basic purposes of it. And of course, we still get a good bit of hydropower out of the dam. And the flood control benefits are substantial. But things have changed since 1942 when the dam was completed. And people use this lake for a lot more things than just those kinds of things. I mean, let's look at recreation. Recreation has become a major component of the U.S. economy. We wouldn't have the kinds of recreation that Knoxville has
if we didn't have
have that lake out there. I mean, you just look at things that are happening around here now. The outdoor community in Knoxville is growing beautifully. Things are really
thanks
coming
to
on.
Legacy Parks, the city, and the county. Yeah,
exactly. But you know, the lake is a huge component of that.
Doesn't Madeline Rahera want to call us the Lake City? I would love for us to be known as a Lake City, wouldn't you?
Well, we should be. Why not? Why not? We've got a beautiful lake.
Wouldn't it be fun for people in Key West to want to come all the way up to the Smoky Mountains?
Yeah, I don't want to get too much off the subject but from a personal point of view, I mean, is there a prettier place than going down to Sequoia Park and walking down the park or on the
Mm-hmm.
boulevard, those bluffs on the southern side of
It's
Fort Loudoun
gorgeous.
out there. It's a beautiful system. I mean, it's multifunctional system that brings all kind of economic development to Knoxville.
Commerce, fun, we're talking about some electricity, and I'm wondering if with all the green focus, if that hydroelectricity could it grow? Could it help us out and get more, do you think? Get more electricity?
Well, we run it at TVA, I should say,
Yeah.
runs it at pretty much capacity. TVA squeezes about as much power out of every drop of water already
Well, that's good to
as
know.
you're going to get out of a hydro system. As I said last week, we have a very technically elegant, perfectly balanced, well, maybe not perfectly balanced, there's nothing perfect, but well-balanced system that provides all those benefits. So we've got all kinds of new uses that have come about on the lake out here that the early planners back in the 40s probably didn't foresee.
They had to know people would want to move along this river and build houses, and that's why they had to control the floods, I would think. It's almost like a catch-22. You want development, yet now they're going to flood. Now they built the dam system, so then more people can move in. I think that would be a real draw for Knoxville.
Absolutely. I think the lake has probably had a lot to do with the overall development of Knoxville.
Well, so let me ask you this. So you've got this wonderful history. What do you suggest as we move forward from 2012? You have a lot of history and personal experience. What can we do, especially as Fort Loudoun Lake Association, or the people listening to this, the people that recreate, the people that live near, the people that use it, the University of Tennessee, the businesses, the downtown, what can we all do to really bring this river up to where it's supposed to be and to make this a river city?
Well, I think it all starts with water quality. I mean,
Yes.
that's our product, is a nice, clean river system. As we talked about last week, 25 years ago, people called it Fort Nasty. You didn't want to leave your boat in the water very long. It might eat through the hull.
That's right.
That's right. So we've had a lot of improvements over the past several years, and I think those improvements are actually ramping up as we speak. Let's take a few examples, a few physical examples first. For instance, the old UT farm out there. Do you know that UT farm, as pastoral as it looked, was a serious polluter of Fort Loudoun Lake. You
cows.
get pesticides, herbicides, not to mention fecal coliform, and it's on a hill, so it all rolled right down into the lake.
Sometimes they lose cows. I know that we'd have to get them out.
Fall off the side of the hill.
You have to fish them out.
We have improved our our waste treatment tremendously in the last 10, 15 years.
Oh yes. Even more in the last 5 years.
And it's continually improving. We have improved the quality of our stormwater flowing into Lake Loudoun, which I think is now probably the biggest problem that we do have.
Erosion
is
and
non-point water, non-point pollution. You know, you can control those point pollution sources much easier than you can control the non-point. The point pollution would be things like the waste treatment plant, like industries along the way, like if marinas were polluting the water. Those would be point sources. Non-point sources would be like we just talked about, the old UT farm, or really just this whole city. I mean, we're on the bank. We have a city of 200,000 people essentially on the banks of this lake.
Right.
So you're starting out with a problem. You got a lot of pollution that comes from the city. And how do you control that? Well, you control it through point as the wastewater, but you also have to look at the non-point, because a heavy rain comes about, and what happens?
Everything overflows.
Everything washes right off the parking lots, washes erosion. We have everything coming down to the lake at various points, and that's really difficult to control. So we've got some people now, though, that are working in the tribs that come into Fort Loudoun Lake.
Tributaries, that is.
Yeah, tributaries, I'm sorry. First, second, third, fourth creek. We've got groups that are working, like yourself, to help control pollution, debris, as well as chemical and organic pollution that's coming out of there. Those are the kind of things that are going to have the most potential, I think, in the near future to improve the quality of the experience on Fort Loudoun Lake. I mean, we've got a beautiful lake out there. We only rate fair and almost poor in some areas of water quality. That's where the work needs to be done.
Well, a couple of things I want to comment on. Those 3 creeks, we're, of course, all the way to 5th Creek, I believe, and down below. But right now, we've just written a grant that will clean up 1st Creek once and for all. Really go in and clean up with the debris that comes down, which is a lot of trash. But you can't just stop there, like you were saying. You have to educate the people that are around those tributaries, the businesses, the restaurant industry, the automotive industry, the schools. Everybody needs to do their part. We can come in and clean it up. We have volunteers that come and clean up. But to stop the pollution at the point, like you say, instead of just picking it up down at the bottom of the lake.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's something that Fort Loudoun Lake does and that we want to do more of.
I think that's the most critical factor in improving the quality of the experience on Fort Loudoun, be it the water quality or the visual quality. Anything you want to look at, it starts with the quality of the water.
Right, and one of the things that we're known for in our organization is promoting the economical benefit of water quality. And I'm really happy to say that Legacy Parks have been a big component of working with us. The city and the county are all working with us, and we hope to get more people to work with us. The community to keep it clean, but in the end, it makes a better place for us to have a great time. It brings more businesses in here. And the greening of Knoxville is continuing to grow, looking at the greenways. And if we have greenways, we need to have nice water for people to be on also.
That's right. And, TVA needs to do its part as well. TVA needs to continue to monitor the quality of the water. It is a TVA lake. It is a TVA reservoir. It's part of the system. And it needs to be monitored very carefully. But I can tell you this, the latest ecological health ratings that I have seen would support what you and I were just talking about, and that is that even though we're in the fair category of health, it is trending upward, and that is a great sign.
And upon that note, we're going to bring our show to a close and thank Ted Nelson so much for being here with all your wealth of knowledge. And just to let you know that Fort Loudoun Lake Association is out there. We can use your help by becoming a member. Go to the website, fortloudounlakeassociation.org, FLLAKE.org, and join up and help us keep the lake clean because we are the guardians of the lake. Thanks so much.